All right, welcome to the 55th episode of the Revolutionary Code, where we bring you the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America. I am your host, Brother Tamani M. Wandani out of Houston, Texas. I am the proud direct revolutionary product of one Cardinal and Bayou Chewy, out of the Shrines of the Black Madonna, and the indirect revolutionary product of one Albert B. Clegg, African name Jeramogi Abebe Ajiman, the father of liberation theology and the founder of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. I am also the founder of the Black Gold Nation movement. My co-host, the National Director of Political Strategy and Implementation for the Black Gold Nation movement and the chairman of LACE, Liberation Advocates for Community Empowerment, the intellectual gangster, corporate grassroots revolutionary, and master domino assassin, from Shreveport, Louisiana, aka The Boot, Brother Craig B. Lee. Brother Craig, how you doing this evening?
I am doing absolutely all right.
Excellent. Brother Craig and I are here not just to inform and educate. We're trying to get you to do something. We want to inform, educate, motivate, mobilize, organize, and build. We want to do that because as a people, as a group, as a tribe, as a nation, we don't have any serious power on any level that really matters to affect our people and our trajectory toward having power and living in peace and doing things as we see fit and necessary. So since we no longer want to be in that powerless position, we're here trying to share some information, trying to impart some knowledge in hopes that we will spark something in you and you will see something in what we're saying, want more information, and go to our website, blackgoldnation.com, and hopefully see a presentation at some point. Tonight's show title is Unlocking, Unleashing, and Activating Your Spirituality, the key to everything. Again, that is unlocking, unleashing, and activating your spirituality, the key to everything. So before I get into my list of questions, Brother Craig, I want to let you know, brother, I do not see that video. So if you can resend it.
That's not the DJ.
I greatly appreciate it.
That's the DJ.
And of course, I don't know where you'd want me to. I got a bunch of questions, so I don't know where you would want me to.
No, keep on going.
Okay. All right. So we'll just start from the top, and if we get to a point where you think the video would fit, let me know, and you can send it to me, and I'll show it, and we can go from there. But I do have a bunch of questions because I think this topic is awesome. Okay. So what is the state? From your perspective, your opinion, what is the state of melanated America, specifically describe for us our condition as a people, those of us of African descent in this country? How would you describe the state of our people in the country right now?
Bleak. Very, very bleak.
Bleak how?
What do you mean bleak how? In a very bad way. I mean, we have regressed, as I told the National Medical Association, which is the Medical Association for African American Doctors. I think it was 6 years ago, I was the keynote speaker here in Shreveport. I let them know we're in a worse position today than we were 60 years ago before civil rights legislation of 64, the voting rights legislation, first one in 65, and the voting rights legislation, the civil rights legislation of 1968, which created the pseudo Fair Housing Act. We have regressed tremendously. And this one guy, doctor, took offense to that because Barack Obama had been elected as president, and he mentioned Oprah Winfrey. And this is the mentality of our people regarding this illusion of Negro exceptionalism and individualism.
Yep.
They believe that because you see a few people, and it's just a few out of 50 million African-American individuals,
yes, sir.
You see a few Negroes so-called winning, that means that we're winning.
Right.
And that is the game that the architects, engineers, and managers of the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy, hit,
Okay, now, what role does this American system play in our conditioning?
What role does it play?
Yeah, what role does this American system play in the condition of our people in this country?
I mean, it plays a significant role. I mean, it attributes for, I would probably say 60, 70% of our situation. But we share 30, 40% of the blame.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go back, and I did this for this one guy who fancies himself as being woke. I asked the guy, I said, before the European set foot on the continent, I said, this is pre-white folks, pre-white folks. What happened as it relates to us being in the condition that we were in? And he said, well, the white man. I said, no. You can't start with the white man. What did we do that contributed to our demise? And he kept on starting with the white man. So I said, brother, you don't get it. And I said, let me answer it for you. Tribalism.
Yep.
See, we have to take responsibility for that, because that existed before chattel slavery, that existed before the slave codes, that existed before slavery by another name, Jim Crow segregation, that existed before pseudo integration. We have to share a responsibility in the condition that our people are in, based on the tribalistic mindset of our people as we were on the continent, because that's the only way that the white folks were able to come in and do what they've actually done to us over the past 500-600 years.
For sure. Amen. And of course, the system is based on what we call the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy racism. Next question: what is, or how do you define evil?
Say that again.
What is, or how do you define evil?
That which lacks righteousness. I mean, that the essence of evil is those entities that operate against nature, those entities who operate against the creator for the destruction of civilization, whether it be through humanity, through the environment.
Mm-hmm.
But those two things definitely, the destruction of humanity and the destruction of environment for whatever gains that they desire to see. They're operating in opposition to the creator and the nature that the creator has created for this universe.
Okay, excellent. So would you consider the creators of this system a system that has our people in such a bleak, discombobulated, disconnected state? Would you consider the creators of this system to be evil? Greg is frozen.
Okay, I'm back in. I'm gonna try to move to a whole nother area.
Okay. Really quickly while you're doing that,
Okay.
does Brother Craig seem low to you as far as his voice? Brother Ted says a devotion. Can you guys hear him okay? Brother Naru says he seems low. He sounds fine to me.
He sounds okay to me, but initially it was low, but I turned the speaker up on my headset, and so it came in very clear.
Okay, Sister Devotion, how does he sound to you?
Yeah, I can hear Brother Craig just fine.
Okay, so Brother Craig, you might want to speak into your mic, I guess a little more directly, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so are you still moving? Are you ready?
Yeah, no, go on the road. I'm just gonna get to a better zone. Keep on going.
Okay, cool. So the question I asked is, would you consider the creators? Naru said your sound sounds better. Would you consider the creators of this system, the system that has our people in such a bleak, discombobulated, disconnected state? Would you consider the creators of this system to be evil?
Absolutely. They're the grafted recessive byproducts of us. They lack spirituality and they lack right culture. They can't have organic culture because they are not us, but they lack organic, the right cultural construct that would invoke understanding the so into earth, and they set the tones for humanity's destruction.
You broke up after you said invoke. What did you say after invoke?
Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to shut this. All right. I said they invoke the destruction onto humanity and to the environment here on Earth. So yeah, they lack spirituality. Those entities are evil.
Okay, cool. So does evil have an opposite? And if so, what would that be?
The opposite of evil is righteousness. Those entities who are about the business of the creator, those entities who are about the business of humanity, those entities who are about the business of the environment, and preserving this. It's pretty basic. We live in a multidimensional reality. So if you have a negative, which evil exists as a negative, then the opposite of that is the positive, which is righteousness. Now, evil did not start, as Elijah Muhammad would like to say, with the Caucasian. It didn't. They like to tell the story of Yaqub, but if you think about that in a basic sense, if this so-called big-headed scientist Yaqub Jacob created the Caucasian, it wouldn't make the Caucasian the devil. It would make the architect of the Caucasian.
Right.
And so these are basic concepts. So if you go to, I think that's Isaiah 45, verse 7, and the scripture says, I make the light and create darkness. I create good and evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. And what that scripture is really hitting on is that absent of spirituality and organic right culture, even the original man and woman can fall into a position of evil, because if you detach from the creator, you're open to creating evil.
Right.
And so what white folks have done, this is not their intellectual property. Now they've expanded the evil that they do, but no, we are the architects of evil because we detached from the creator, those who were in leadership, and this led the grassroots individuals into a state of oppression. And so that's why what we're doing with BGN is so important, because for the first time in world history, we're talking about grassroots people being the the architects, the engineers, and managers of our system that will benefit grassroots people. You see, because all white folks have done is taken from our former civilizations, those entities who were in power.
Yes, sir.
And they've copied all of those things, but they've expanded the evil that we began. And they are on a whole nother level with it that we would never comprehend, because that is their total nature.
Right.
That's their total nature.
Yeah. And you can see that total nature in how they've maneuvered since they were discovered or came out of the mountains. What they do, they've always done. And I think that's one of our mistakes, because we don't realize that we think we can appeal to their nature, their inhumanity, whereas that's what they've always done. And I think our ability to love to a fault is of course has hurt us in a number of ways, and it's still hurting us. So
well, and let me say this, and the reason that our people especially do that is because very few people can analyze, and this gets back to being in control of your mind and being able to think and think critically. Very few people can see beyond their indoctrination, their conditioning, and their perspective. They really can't get into a perspective of analyzing. So if they look at the world with rosy glasses, they're going to believe that, hey, the good exists in all. And you can show them all of the case analysis of their enemy, and they will still
that's right.
Try to roll with these individuals as if they are one and the same with them. And that is a part of the religious indoctrination that exists. And so to be able to break that, that is a very difficult thing for most people, and most people will never be able to do it.
Right. Right. Okay. So the opposite of evil is righteousness. So can that righteousness be tapped into? Can we tap into that and utilize it for our own forward progress and benefit as we exist inside this system of evil? Can we tap into that righteousness and use it to move ourselves forward?
I mean, the answer is yes, but it's going to take a high level, skilled, small team of individuals, melanated, grassroots hybrids, Black grassroots hybrids, who are about the business of the liberation, the advancement, the empowerment, and the advancement of our people. You're not going to be able to move the masses of our people. So this is something that has to be done, constructed with a small group of our people, and we create the physical reality for them to buy into the paradigm shift. What has been happening, I can tell you over the past 57 years, since the passage of the civil rights legislation of 1964, what's been happening is our people, those who desire to lead and guide our folks to a better way of life, we've gotten caught up in the rhetoric game, the wordplay game, and not the physical reality game. You're not going to move the masses of our people by rhetoric. And I'm going to ask you these questions so you'll understand what I'm saying and prove the point. Who makes the toilet tissue, the majority of the toilet tissue for our people to go to the bathroom?
You mean what company or what ethnic group?
What ethnic group?
Oh, I'm going to assume white people, but I'm not sure. It's not us.
Who makes the majority of the soap that our people use to bathe with?
Caucasians, white people, not us.
Where do the majority of our people get their utilities from? What ethnic group?
White people, Europeans, Caucasians.
Where do our people get paper clips from?
China.
Where do our people get paper clips from?
China.
Where do our people get paper clips from? The majority of paper clips made by white folks, the majority of staplers. So the majority of things that are real and tangible to our people are created by white folks or some other ethnic group that learn how to create these products from white folks. So to believe that you can just say some clever words and you're going to maneuver and move the majority of our people is just very naive, because that's not going to happen.
Tonight's show, the show title is Unlocking, Unleashing, and Activating Your Spirituality, the key to everything. So how do you define spirituality, Brother Craig?
I define it 9 million times, but
this is 9,000,001.
Spirituality is the power, the organic power that exists inside of you that was gifted to you by the Creator. It is that power source that allows you to do right living. It is the power source that allows you to tap into your macro and micro life purposes. It is the power source that allows you to have protection from the forces of evil. It is the power source that allows you, righteous people, to be able to defeat evil. Spirituality is not a belief. It is something that is in you, but it has to be unlocked, unleashed, and activated. And that is the thing that the majority of people just do not get. But it is that power that connects you intrinsically to the Creator and the power that the Creator has. And now you're operating in harmony with the entity that has created all that exists in the universe and beyond.
Okay, so that is your definition, not a definition you got from somewhere else, correct?
The creator guided me to that over these past 54 years.
Okay,
53 years.
So about to be 54. So you have discussed with me, educated me, in fact, to the power and importance of words. That definition of spirituality, you didn't get that from Webster. No. So why did you have to create your own definition for spirituality? Why did you have to do that?
Because there is no, 24 years ago, when my research partner and I, my main research partner, Amari Davis, we started working together. I told him there were two terms that we were going to have to define. I say, because I get it now, why this thing is so difficult for our people to comprehend. And those two terms were spirituality and culture. And people use the both of those terms loosely, but very few people have really thought about this to understand what those two terms are. So when we look at what the Creator blessed me to create in 1995 with the 6 pillars of empowerment, that's why those two human assets are the first two, and they're the most important of the 6, because there was no definition for it. I never heard anybody legitimately define spirituality. Culture has some pretty, decent definitions, but of course I got into a deeper perspective of it because this is the regimen that an ethnic group does on a daily basis, that deals with language, that deals with food, that deals with fashion, that deals with politics and economics, and how you go about educating your children, and how relationships work, and your views on different things. That's where the cultural component comes in. So there are some basic things that define that. But when it comes to spirituality, which spirituality is above culture, because male man, female woman, we are not infallible. We're not infallible.
Right.
Just because something is a part of your cultural legacy, let's say what you're doing, and I always give the example of the decapitation or the clipping of the female genitalia in terms of the clitoris in certain tribes in Africa. The Creator ain't tell nobody to do that.
Right.
That's the goddamn lie. But it can be a cultural practice that's been done for 200 years.
Sure.
But the reason that we know that the Creator ain't tell him to do it is why?
Because it's against life. You can't produce life if there's no, I guess you could, because it causes pain to another person and it's unnecessary.
No, because the goddamn Creator gave it to him.
Ah, okay, I'll take that.
So if you're telling me that you know better than the Creator, I know you a goddamn lie.
Right. Otherwise,
So
yeah, why would it be there? Yeah.
Exactly. Just like homosexuality. We know that this is an abomination to the world in which we live. Why? Why? Because you cannot produce life.
That's right.
So we don't have to get into these theoreticals on this. So spirituality has been likened to religiosity, which religiosity is a byproduct of culture. See, cultural, ethnic groups create culture. Out of culture, you get religious practices. But spirituality supersedes all of that, right? Because it is the power that exists in you that has to be unlocked, unleashed, and activated in order for you to have a compass in your life that guides you to right living.
Okay, this next question is a long one. If I asked everybody that's watching with us now, and even those that are watching the recording, if I asked them to give me their top 3 or 5 people or organizations who've done the most or a significant amount for Black people, we'd undoubtedly hear names like Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, NAACP, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the Panthers, Stokely Carmichael. A few people who a bit more enlightened or read a few more books. They might mention Noble Jew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, the Deacons for Defense, Joe Morris, and Bernard Garrett, or even Reginald Lewis. So we've been here in this country for over 400 years, but we have zero power, zero institutional, corporate, economic, and political power on the level that will allow us to create serious change for our people. 400 years. Is it your perspective, your opinion, your understanding that the reason why we do not have power in the ways that matter, is that due to the persons I listed, the organizations I listed, lacking your definition of spirituality?
No, it's not due to that. I mean, just like in politics, just like in most things in this society and world, a lot of this gets down to math and it gets down to history. So you have to understand that there are over 190 million European descendants in America. And at one point, there were more of us here than them.
Yep.
But again, just like you can have more cows in a pasture than the person who has the ranch or the farm. But when you create those barriers, and I mean, just think about it. Cows are contained inside of gates, boundaries that they could easily break through. Why don't they ever break through them? Because they've been conditioned to stay in the pasture.
That's right.
And so when we, like in the state of Louisiana, coming out of slavery, the majority of the population inside of the state of Louisiana were African American. But with the philosophy, the architectural creation of the philosophy, system, and game of capitalistic white supremacy, a lot of our ancestors vacated the state, moved west, moved to Texas, moved to other places, because of the extreme conditions.
Mhm.
So we have to deal with this historically to understand chattel slavery, real, the system, the philosophy, the game, real, manifest destiny, real,
Mhm.
divine rights of kings, real, fascism, real. So we can say that, you know, they didn't have a full grasp of spirituality, but even if they did have a full grasp of my definition of spirituality, I mean, it wouldn't have helped win this war. You see,
Because
because we don't have the numbers.
mm,
We don't have the numbers inside of this actual philosophy system game, the matrix that we're in. So we have to be more clever in terms of maneuvering. So many of our ancestors fought back
mhm.
physically, mentally, intellectually. They fought back.
Right.
But when you don't have the numbers, and then the philosophy, the system and game is against you, it's like boom. Just today, one of my good colleagues, Greg Powell, sent me an article on donations that Tom Benson's wife, who is now the owner of the New Orleans Saints, made in New Orleans to various organizations. And she gave Tulane University, I think 10 million over the past few years, Notre Dame Seminary money. She ended up giving Xavier, my university, my alma mater, approximately $1.5 million.
Hmm.
And so Greg was pissed off at that. And I said, what the hell are you pissed off at that for?
You wanted more.
I mean, this is a cracker. This is the environment that we're in. Why are you upset about that?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but Craig, I said, but my ass. I said, dude, this is the philosophy, the system and game of capitalistic white supremacy. What don't you get about that? But man, she gave so much. Xavier's Catholic. I said, and what? Racism and white supremacy don't exist in Catholicism? I said, Brother Greg, Yahoo, Google, Facebook, Microsoft. I said, where did all of those corporations start? And he didn't know the answer. I said, it started at white universities.
That's right. In dorm rooms.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why the hell you mad that Bill Gates and Zuckerberg give $100 million or $50 million to goddamn Harvard or Yale or Stanford or MIT? The reality of the situation is we have to get our HBCUs,
Yes,
which
sir.
is why I'm doing the project that I'm doing right now.
Yep.
Now expand their vision and their purpose for existing in this world.
That's right.
It can no longer be just creating labor for the public and private sectors. It must be to now get into the realm of entrepreneurship, nonprofit, for-profit entrepreneurship, so that we're creating empowerment solutions for our people.
That's right.
Now, why hasn't that happened at the HBCUs? Because they lack the spirituality and the organic right culture.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they cannot create the idea to do that.
Yeah.
But who can? A goddamn HBCU alumnus who has tapped in to his spirituality and organic right culture, who is willing to work with a coalition of people like yourself, like everybody on this phone call and others,
mm-hmm.
so that we can now take our dismal, so when you ask the damn question about, what's the word I used? Bleak.
Bleak.
What does that mean? Well, if you're spending less than 3% of $1.5 trillion of disposable income with your own people, and then you're begging for other ethnic groups to treat you with respect, you need your goddamn ass whooped. Because if you just bump that up 30 points to 33%, and our coalition is responsible for the 30%.
That's right.
30% of $1.5 trillion is $450 billion. Even if we just took 5% of that money and dedicated to our higher education HBCUs, our secondary institutions, elementary, junior high, high schools.
That's right.
Whether they are in the public school system in majority African-American spaces, charter schools or private schools, pre-K, Head Start, whatever, we got $22 billion.
That's right.
They can survive.
Yeah.
Then we can give a goddamn endowment to Xavier, Dillard. Then you can make donations. But until then, shut the hell up. Don't tell me nothing about the goddamn Saints and what Miss Benson ain't doing.
If you missed the beginning of the show, you listen to the Revolutionary Code, where we bring the truth about how governmental politics actually works in every facet of human existence and how that affects our people, Black people here in America, as well as Africa and the diaspora. Tonight's show is our 55th episode and is titled Unlocking, Unleashing, and Activating Your Spirituality, the Key to Everything. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation Movement, and my co-host is Brother Craig B. Lee, who is the National Director of our Political Strategy and Implementation Department. So, Brother Craig, you talked about this earlier. You touched on it, and I'm glad you didn't go too far because we're at that point now. How is spirituality different than religion?
Religion, again, is a byproduct of the cultural practices of an ethnic group. Religion deals with the practices of an ethnic group within the premise that they are connecting to a higher power. Okay. So the premise is this ethnic group says, some leader, some so-called spiritual person, I know the way to tap in to the Most High. And it's through this doctrine. That's what religion is. Spirituality is saying this to the religious leader or drum major, you're a goddamn lie. You're a goddamn lie. Because this is something that is inside of you. It don't require no damn tithes and offering, no damn benevolent offering, right. No church fund.
Right.
It don't require no chicken place to be sold after church. It don't require no damn pastor anniversaries or no usher board meetings. It requires you to be willing to submit your will and your mind unto the Most High, so the Most High can help you unlock your mind so that you can then tap into this power. Just like with Superman. Superman had a certain power, but he was limited based on the opposing power that would neutralize his power, which was kryptonite. Okay? So religiosity is the kryptonite for the goddamn Negro. And you have to be able to break the religious shackles in order to tap in to the power that already exists in you. What I'm saying to you does not require no damn money, no goddamn, you ain't got to join no Masonic group, the Divine Nine. You just have to be willing to submit your will and your mind to being cultivated by entities who have already tapped in. And the way that you know people have already tapped in, it's going to show in their actions and in their words. That's why my daily code of living, walk your talk, then talk your walk. I'm going to show you spirituality. Then I'll tell you about it. That's how I came to learn what spirituality is, what it is not, and learning that religiosity and spirituality are two totally different things.
So from your perspective, your understanding, is religion in and of itself wrong or bad?
I would say this: religiosity is not infallible.
Mm-hmm.
I say it to you again: religiosity is not infallible, which means it is not perfect.
Right.
Therefore, it is flawed. And the individuals who bring you religiosity are not infallible. They are flawed.
Right.
So if the individuals who create religiosity are flawed and their intellectual property creation is flawed, that means that evil, bad, unrighteousness can exist within any religion.
That's right.
It's called logic, critical thinking.
And that religion can be used to do evil and bad things.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, most of the people who are in religions are good.
That's right.
But the reason that evil continues the way it continues, although you got 9 trillion goddamn churches, and hell, 8.5 trillion of the churches are in the Negro community.
That's right.
But the reason that evil continues to flourish, even though you have all of these churches, is because good people are punks.
Yeah.
They're punks. And that's why I was trying to pull that video up. We'll have it for next week. But it's about benign neglect.
Mm-hmm.
Benign neglect. And that's the pimp game that the Democrats, the Republicans, the preachers, the pimps, the dope dealers play on our people, but in particular, the politicians play because they know our people don't understand. And if you go to Psalms, the 82nd number of Psalms, and there are like 8 verses in that 82nd number of Psalms. And in the 5th verse, you'll see in the 82nd number of Psalms, after so-called God is giving the physical gods the instructions of what they're supposed to do for grassroots people, protect them, advocate for them, rid them out of the hand of evil people. In the 5th verse, it gives them the reason that they are supposed to do that. And it says this: you're supposed to do this because they know not
what they do. Yep.
Neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness, all, not some, but all the foundations of the earth are out of course. See, our people don't know.
Yep.
And they can't know because they don't understand or comprehend. And they can't know what they don't understand, comprehend, because they've never applied that which they claim, pretend to understand and comprehend. Therefore, they can never know it, nor can they overstand it. And that's why we're in the condition that we're in today.
So can you have religion without spirituality and vice versa?
Yeah, that's how religion is. Religion ain't got no spirituality in
it. Okay. So
religiosity is absent spirituality. The people who are rolling, the architects, the engineers, and the managers of the game have the individuals. Let's go back to the plantation. When Nat Turner learned to read, Nat Turner had been indoctrinated just like everybody else on the plantation.
That's right.
Well, how in the hell did Nat Turner start to read something different than what the damn slave owner had been indoctrinating him to believe in? What is that? What is that called?
His interpretation was completely different.
Spirituality, man.
I'll take that. Yeah.
He started to awaken his spirituality in the stories that he was reading. And he's like, wait a minute. They telling me that I'm supposed to bow down and roll with them, but I'm reading about this cat that they calling Jesus. And he was resisting the system.
That's right.
So what allowed him to understand when he was being taught incorrectly? That ain't nothing but the creator and the ancestors guiding him to understand. That's what laid the foundation. But the majority of our people and the majority of the people that he was leading didn't understand. So how did he end up getting caught? Some sellout ass Negroes.
As usual.
How did Denmark Vesey get caught?
Yeah.
Some sellout goddamn. Because remember now, Denmark Vesey created what? Mother Emanuel, AME.
Sure, that's right.
The church where the crackers went and killed the 9 brothers and sisters in the church, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now let me get it straight. A grassroots revolutionary who is mobilizing and organizing Black people to kill white folks in Charleston, South Carolina. He creates a church that's supposed to be a revolutionary church, an African Methodist Episcopalian church. Why? Because the white folks in the Episcopalian Methodist church did not want him in there. So they created Mother Emanuel. So here you have a revolutionary creating this church for the benefit of his people, but not to do religiosity, but to do spirituality. Although he had been indoctrinated, he started to see this. Nah, bro, we got to elevate.
That's right.
And so fast forward all those years later, and the same revolutionary church, a white boy comes in, murders 9 Negroes, and the first damn thing that you hear these Uncle Tom ass Negroes say is,
that's right,
to the damn we love you, we forgive you. We love it. Yep. That's not spirituality, brother. Yeah. That's religion.
So is it safe to say that religion is a belief system without spirituality?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can have. Go ahead.
That's exactly what it is. Giving you the illusion that you're being spiritual when you're not.
Okay. So can you have, if you have spirituality, can you also then have religion?
You can create a construct, a cultural construct that could, in essence, become a daily, weekly practice that one could then say is religion, but I would stay away from the term. I would just call it
culture, practices. Yeah, culture. Yeah.
I would leave the word religiosity is a bad word. It's one of the worst curse words you could ever use.
I can dig it. All right. Okay. I'm with you. So in your book, from your perspective, religious leaders and our institutions, would you say they are bad for our people and or our communities?
99% of them are.
Because they lack spirituality, correct?
Exactly. And they're indoctrinated to roll with the agenda of the architects, engineers, and managers of the philosophy system and game of capitalistic white supremacy. And that's why when you look at people like Jeremiah Wright, Reverend Clay, Reverend Vernon Johns, Malcolm X, hell, finally when the goddamn Holy Spirit started to get on even Martin Luther King, those Negro preachers scattered from his ass.
Wait a minute now.
like, wait a minute. Everything was good when you was talking about that goddamn dream. But now you talking about going against the white folks and the Vietnam War? Nah, I can't stand with you on that. White man been too good to us, Martin. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now, the majority of these cats, man, are straight trash, man.
Really quick segue. This is not one of my questions, but I was doing a little research on it because you sent Brother Lloyd and I a video clip. Would you put Reverend Ike in that group that you just mentioned?
You know what? I wouldn't put Reverend Ike in the trash group, because if you go back, and I challenge y'all to go back and listen to Reverend Ike's sermon. Reverend Ike let you know straight up, his God is green. He wasn't lying. He wasn't sugarcoating.
Right.
Reverend Ike let it be known his God was green, but You go listen to Reverend Ike. He talks about there is no God in the sky. It's the God in you.
That's right.
He was talking about really spirituality. He didn't define it like that. But you go back and listen to Reverend Ike. I can always respect a hustler, a pimp, who is about the business of kind of sort of, telling you the game. Because the code in the streets, whether it be the dope game, pimp game, the game is to be what? The game is to be what?
I don't know. The game is to be
sold.
Oh, sold. Okay, yeah,
Sold.
I got you.
Not what? Not what?
Told.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you look at Reverend Ike was really giving you some game.
That's right.
He was really telling you, I'm not rolling with what these preachers are rolling with by telling you about the spooky entity in the sky.
That's right.
I think I said that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and that's why I asked the question, because I was listening to it. Yeah.
Look what he said. God is in you.
That's right. Yeah.
That's spirituality that I'm talking about.
I got you. And you said earlier that we are born with spirituality, correct?
You don't get it from no damn chicken plates, no benevolent offering, no church fund, no goddamn pastor. Who gives the most money to the pastor anniversary? None of this. Church conventions is born in you.
Got it.
You just have to be able to unlock it, unleash it, and activate it. And you can only do that when you unlock, unleash, and activate your third eye.
Okay, so a perfect segue. So what does unlocking, unleashing, and activating our spirituality, what does that look like? A person who has done that will be able to do what? What does that look like?
It looked like goddamn Craig Lee. It looked like Craig Lee won against 10,000 white folks and sellout Negroes in Shreveport. It looks like there's no way you can win. There's no way you can do what you do, and all of these people are against you, but the Creator gives you the intellectual understanding and the skills and the expertise to navigate amongst all these piranhas and sharks and tarantulas and cobras. And the Creator gives you the armor and the protection. It allows you to create political concepts that now start to work 20 years after the fact. It allows you to have the patience to know that you create something 20 years ago, you may have to sit on it. But while you're still working, you may have to sit on it until the time is right. As what is going on now. It allows you to create the first Afrocentric architectural development in the history of Northwest Louisiana back in 1995. It allows you to take care of a mother who's had 2 brain surgeries and a cousin who is paralyzed while doing all of your work, cooking goddamn meat pies, speaking every damn where, and being mentors to knucklehead ass children. It allows you to do a lot of things. It allows you to get back into your Superman and Superwoman state, as J.A. Rogers talked about in his book, From Superman to Man, how we've fallen from our supernatural status to mortal status because we lost that connectivity with the Creator and our righteous ancestors. So it allows you to tap in and to do all of these great things that most people believe can't be done. Build pyramids, design traffic lights and stop lights and gas masks, and it allows you to do supernatural things, brother.
Okay, good. So unlocking, unleashing, and activating looks like a Craig Lee and or a person who's able to do things that other people aren't able to do because they haven't tapped into that inner power that they're born with. So if a group of people do this, unlock, unleash, and activate, or a community or a town or a village or a small or mid-sized city, what does that look like?
It looks like goddamn Wakanda.
Good answer. Which of course is possible. Yeah.
Hell yeah, it's possible with some gangster in you. You know, it's damn sure possible.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to have some
But
gangsta
like,
in you, or you got to know something.
but like in the Godfather Harlem, like you know, Bumpy Johnson told Malcolm, if you're gonna be political, you gotta be a little gangster.
That's right. That's that's right. So after 400 years of operant conditioning, whereby we are rewarded or punished by our response to and or behavior in this system. That's what operant conditioning is. Our people have been psychologically damaged. We're psychologically, spiritually, and mentally damaged, broken, and disconnected. How does unlocking, unleashing, and activating how does one unlock, unleash, and activate his or her spirituality? Specifically, how do you, if a person says, okay, I like what you're saying, it sounds great, I want to be like you, I want to be like Black people who have done things that other people thought was impossible. How does one specifically unlock, unleash, and activate his or her spirituality? How do you do that?
How does somebody who is 450 pounds get down to 200 pounds?
Focus, dedication, commitment, discipline.
Reclaim.
What you say, Devotion?
I see a reclaim.
I think you said reclaim. I think reclaim or reclaim. Reclaim, right? Reclaim.
Yes, reclaim that position. Reclaim, walk in your power, walk in your position, do it.
You gotta goddamn do it. And starting the process is detoxification. And most people will talk about detoxification of your body, but the first thing you got to detoxify, Devotion, is what?
Your mind.
Your mind.
You goddamn right.
So how does one begin to detoxify his or her mind?
I'm about to go there.
Okay.
Just follow the yellow brick road there, little so at some point, the person who is sincerely interested in wanting to learn, of course, they don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them have not unlocked their minds, unlocked, unleashed, and activated their minds, let alone their spirituality. So, but they may have finally gotten enough foots in their asses, enough rocks thrown at them by this world, enough ass whoopings by this world, that they might be finally now saying, use me, tell me, what do I need to do? And this is where we come in. Those of us who have done it, who have unlocked, unleashed, and activated our minds and our third eye and tapped in to get our spirituality, we have to now create the physical reality for them to see, because they're not going to do just by reading a book, just by going to a lecture, none of that. Mm-hmm. They got to be able to see, and what they believe in is money, status, and materialism, that which the cracker has created. And so you have to tap in. However, I don't give a damn if it's selling some bean pies to make some millions, some hell, it could be selling some tea cakes, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You have to tap in to this system that we're in and show them that a righteous person who is about the business of his or her people can also leverage the reality that they believe in, which is money, status, and materialism. When they see that, you'll have their attention. When you have their attention, now you can give them some physical assignments so that they can now start to detoxify their mind, so they can detoxify their bodies and get on this empowerment exercise regimen. Just like you got to physically exercise, you got to mentally exercise your mind, you got to do the same thing with empowerment training. And so once they can physically see, you put their ass in empowerment boot camp. And now you give them structure and you give them assignments and you take it in incremental steps. And that's how you begin that process. Ain't nothing, but it damn sure ain't gonna be, anything quick. But it is more rapid than trying to get them to, read books and, come to lectures and, things of that particular nature.
So this is not one of my questions, and we only have two left. I'm surprised we got through because I had like 19. I usually have like 10. So we did very well. I understand when you say you have to be able to show people the physical reality. I get that. However, why is that physical reality so important when we know from history that we've had that physical reality before? Why do we have to see it again? If we know Tulsa, Oklahoma existed, why do we have to see it again to know that we can do it again?
Tulsa, Oklahoma only existed because of segregation. It did not exist organically.
Mm-hmm.
Most Black Wall Streets did not exist organically. That's why of the more than 200 that were created, only about 30 still exist. Because once Negroes found out they could go to Woolworth, that they could goddamn go shop with Mr. Zawoski's hamburger stand and go get some damn white ice versus the Negro ice, they was through. And those places primarily were run by the bourgeoisie entities representing the African American community. The grassroots never ran the show. Although some grassroots entities were in business, they never ran the show, the city. They never ran these particular towns. You see? So the interest, the politics was never about the upliftment of grassroots individuals. So that's a prototype that has to be created. That was never created.
But I don't think most people would know that these 200 geographic spaces that we controlled and started and built, I don't think people would know that the grassroots didn't run it. So that might be an outlier. The point of my question is,
what do you mean they wouldn't know?
I don't think it's common knowledge.
No, it's not about it being common knowledge. The whole point of the matter is, as we're having this discussion,
Mm-hmm.
most Negroes believe that if you're melanated, you're Black.
Right.
So
right.
They don't know the difference between melanation and Blackness.
Right. I get that, but my point is you said that we have to show them the physical reality. But
exactly.
if we know from history that there was a physical reality, even if we don't understand how it was ran, why do we have to see it again? That's my question.
Because, Brother Tamani, when you look at the dynamics of those few pockets that existed, they didn't exist to benefit the grassroots masses, brother. They didn't. Whether you were in Shreveport or other places, they didn't exist to benefit the grassroots masses.
Mm-hmm.
The elite of our people used the grassroots masses, nickels, dimes, and quarters to build their empires, but they did not reinvest those dollars into the Black community. So while you had some Black excellence going on, there was never a physical reality. Now, for the bourgeoisie, those entities, they can look at a Greenwood, they can look at a Greensboro, North Carolina, because a lot of them were part of different Masonic groups, different Greek letter organizations,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So now this is part physical reality and also part telling the story about a Giles D. Moore. My uncle, he was still in the Masonic order, but he was still grassroots, but he was like a hybrid. But at the end of the day, you must show the physical reality because the majority of our people, A, are not going to read, B, they're not going to understand and comprehend what they're reading. So you must always work to create the physical prototype. That's why I asked you the question, who produces the toilet paper, the paper towels,
right.
the soap, Everything that is a part of these Negroes' reality is created by white folks or other ethnic groups.
Got it. Got it.
And so until you create that physical reality, you can tell them all day about Black Wall Street. They don't give a damn about that. Because guess what? Guess what their motto is?
I wasn't there. I don't see it, or I don't have it now.
What have you done for me lately?
Lately. Okay. All right.
About all that other shit 5 years ago. You could have just did something for a Negro last week. And Negroes said, okay, that's good. What have you done for me lately?
Okay. All right. Last two questions. So unlocking, unleashing, and activating one's spirituality looks like a Black person who is doing things that most people believe is impossible, and also that the path of that person doing those things is being made possible by a higher power. If a group of people do this, a community, a village, town, then we got Wakanda. So where does that leave us if we do not unlock, unleash, and activate? If we don't get that part right, where does that leave our people?
We goddamn doomed.
Amen.
We going back to the plantation.
And the plantation is knocking at the door.
It's knocking at the door.
Yes, sir.
But we're doing.
Yep. Okay, brother. That is my last question for you. And when I get to the last question, I ask you the final question, which is, if you could ensure that from tonight's show, everyone who's here with us now and those that watch the recording, they get one takeaway. You have the power to wave a magic wand and they get one takeaway to keep with them for the rest of their lives from tonight's show. What would that one takeaway be?
Spirituality is not a belief. It is a power that exists within you that has been granted to you by the Most High. And all you have to do is submit your will and your mind unto the Creator and the empowerment trainers who will help you connect to that power source so that you can now have the revelation of your macro and your micro life purposes so that you leave this planet knowing that you were working and doing what you were put here to do.
And I would assume that those empowerment trainers are those who have either already unlocked, unleashed, and activated, or who are on that path to do so, correct?
Exactly.
Solid. All right, brother. That's it for tonight's show. We're going to open this thing up for questions and answers. And of course, as always, Brother Naru has turned his camera on. So Brother Naru, what's your question, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Brother Craig, a couple of questions. So earlier you talked about opening up spirituality. So I just want to ask, do you feel like only people that we call Black people, melanated people, are we the only ones who can tap into spirituality, or other people on the planet can tap into it as well?
Other people can tap in, especially our cousins of the different ethnic groups. But as you leave the African spectrum and you go, to your so-called red, brown, yellow, once you get to white, the deeper you dilute the melanation, the deeper you dilute that, the less, the more difficult it would be for them to tap in. So they have to be trained. That which is natural for us, others have to be trained. But within those color spectrums, it definitely exists because they are the closest connectors to us, the original man and woman. So yeah, other ethnic group, our cousins can tap in, but it's most difficult for the pale skin.
Okay, that's pretty much was going to answer my other question too. So yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you, brother, and appreciate y'all as always. I'm done for the evening.
Yeah, and brother Naru, to even expound upon that further, you look at we're the only group of people of significant melanation who have been stripped of culture and our spirituality being blocked and replaced, usurped, if you will, with religiosity. But when you look at entities from different parts of Asia, uh, different parts of Central South America, who are our cousins, with their culture being intact, or with a direct connection to the continent, you see how they conduct themselves completely differently than how we roll under this European beast. You see what I'm saying?
No, that's definitely true.
And so that's why a lot is put. I remember this one sister used to always talk to me about the what's the deal that they always, the chakras. She used to always promote this chakra stuff. So one day I finally asked her, what the hell the chakra mean? And she didn't even know what the hell it meant. And while she was giving praise to India, she didn't even know that the Indian chakra system is a byproduct of what? The Kemetic chakra system.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, when you don't know, you uplift other ethnic groups who have done nothing but spin off our goddamn thing.
Yeah, or stole it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let me, I'm sorry, Naru, that was your last question, right?
No, that was it. Yeah.
Okay. So Brother Craig, let me ask you, would you say that John Brown, our white brother, did he tap into his spirituality?
Hell yeah. But when you peel the layers back a little bit deeper, I think his mother was Native, so-called Native American.
Oh, okay.
And he had the white in him. But man, John Brown, that's why white folks could never trick me.
Mm-hmm.
No white person could ever trick me, because John Brown is their goddamn test case.
Yeah, he is the epitome of the example.
Hey, if you ain't willing to put in that work that John Brown put in,
yeah,
bro, you don't even need to try to trick me, bro.
Man, he was definitely about that life.
Oh yeah, that's my dude.
Speaking of John Brown, can you give some other examples of people, Black people who have unlocked, unleashed, and activated their spirituality?
I mean, Denmark Vesey was one of them. Like I said, the father of the Mother Emanuel. Yeah. Paul Cuffey, who was one of the wealthiest African descendants in America after the American Revolution. And he made his goddamn money building ships with an all African descendant shipping company. Mm-hmm. He was the architect of the Back to Africa movement.
That's right.
Read about him, Paul Cuffey, C-U-F-F-E-E.
Okay.
F-F-E. But he was rooted with Native American and African in him. Richard Allen, Benjamin Banneker, mm-hmm. Garvey to some degree. I give Garvey credit to some degree. He didn't tap in completely, but definitely. Malcolm, definitely. I would say to some degree, Fannie Lou Hamer, she didn't tap in all the way, but mm-hmm. tapped in to some degree. Gable Presser. So there are several entities that we can pull from.
That's right.
Historically, and there are others, of course, that I have not mentioned, but they definitely tapped in, and they were about the business of liberating, empowering, and advancing our people.
Would you say that Bob Marley tapped in?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Would you say Frankie Beverly and Mays tapped in?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. From they do their thing from the music arts.
Yes, sir.
But their lyrics tell you where they're at.
Oh, they definitely connected for sure.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. You know, they through their music devotion, not through their lives. Most
Right.
of them, it's funny you bring up Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm renting a condo from one of my mentees, Brandon Campbell, and he's from LA. And his childhood best friend is one of the sons of what's Earth, Winds, Fire's lead singer, Philip Bailey. And this boy was in Atlanta, Georgia, on crack rock, and Brandon went and got him, and all Philip had him doing to make 50 or 60,000 a year was get him some damn tea. And his punk ass could even get some damn tea. But my point is, behind the scenes, outside of the music, their lives, just like with R. Kelly. R. Kelly, we know, is demented, but he's the same guy that wrote "I Believe I Can Fly."
Yeah, he a musical genius.
Right.
Musical genius.
So
no doubt.
a lot of the artists, they can create the words, they can create the visual images, but their physical reality, the spirituality is not there. But there definitely is, even as messed up as Michael Jackson was, there was some spirituality that he tapped into to do what he did. Now, of course, leave it up to his punk ass, he would have been playing with some goddamn rats and whatnot. So,
hey, Ben was a good song. Cut that out.
They can hate on Joe Jackson all they want to, but without Joe Jackson,
yeah, he would have been a whole nutcase.
He would have been a whole nutcase. It wouldn't have been no damn Jackson 5. Without Richard Williams, it wouldn't be no Serena and no goddamn Venus. So there's some elements
right
that they tap into. It's just not fully maximized, where their successes equal their physical manifestation in their daily lives. Because most of those cats, if they really were tapped in spiritually, man, they would be able to help our people on such a high level, but
immensely.
They're just not tapped in.
Yeah. So Devotion, you got a question? I guess not. She muted. Okay. All right, Brother Craig, my last question is, do you think it is, Brother Naru asked about other people being able to tap into, and you went through the color wheel till you got to those who lack the most melanin. Would you say that it is in our best interest to either at some point teach those who lack the most melanin, or teach the next lower melanin group to us and have them keep teaching until they get to white people? Is it in our best interest to at some point teach them how to tap into?
Part of my empowerment philosophy is my political and economic philosophy of culturalism. And when you see my logo, you'll see a melanated dark hand, so-called black hand, connected with a dark red hand, connected with a brown, connected with a yellow, connected with a white, connected with a green, connected with a purple, back to the melanated hand. And in the middle, you will see the peace symbol with red, black, and green. And what that logo is saying, and my slogan is empowering the people. So I'm answering your question this way.
Mm-hmm.
What that logo is saying is, when grassroots people, individuals of African descent can connect with grassroots people of so-called Native American descent, and connect with those of Latino descent, and those of Asiatic, Middle Eastern descent, and those of European descent, around the principles of freedom, justice, culture, respect, and equity. And we now teach our youth of each ethnic group the same thing and protect them, and we protect our elders with the purple hand, now we can have peace. So what I'm saying to you is we don't have to go out to teach any other ethnic group. They have to come to us. And if they are about the business, you know, which they would have to, again, walk your talk first.
Mhm.
And because we don't get caught up in the rhetoric game, because that's how you get infiltrated. So if you showing us that you're about that life, and you seek us out, or we see that you're doing some real work and we need to be in alignment with certain public policy focus, yeah, we can now reach out. Because the reason, Tamani, that the world is in utter chaos
Yep.
and out of balance is because we are out of balance.
That's
and
right.
we are in chaos.
Yep.
See, we're the originals of the planet. So if we are in chaos and out of balance, the world, not just our households, not just our neighborhoods, our communities, our cities, our counties and parishes, but our states, the country, the world is out of balance, because the people who lack natural spirituality are in charge. And they do not have the ethical and moral compass to rebalance the world. So yeah, to some degree we teach, but those entities would have to seek us out. It is not our job to go fishing for no damn body other than our people who, even with most of them,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to show and prove. You know?
That is a very, very, very frightening reality. That statement you just made, that's extremely frightening. Those who are without spirituality, those who cannot have it naturally, are running the world.
Exactly.
So the inmates are indeed running the prison.
Exactly.
Or the insane asylum, which is really,
Exactly.
really sad and scary and frightening. Okay, so before we close this thing out, does anyone else have a question or comment for Brother Craig?
I did have a question and comment. I was actually trying to unmute, but I didn't realize that it was already open.
Right.
But you know what? Based on what Brother Craig is saying just now, when it in terms of us not going to look for people to teach, yeah, I wanted to introduce this. This is a model that I studied in college. It's called the ABCD model, which stands for the Asset-Based Community Development. And what that looks like is somebody right in the community who is an asset. You know, back in the day, we would have the candy lady who was an asset. And today, I would use myself as an example. The way I got spirituality or brought it back into flourishing in my hood is I started off selling sea moss and fat flushes.
Let's go.
And so people started coming to my house to buy my sea moss. And every time they came, it was like, oh, Devotion, I like the vibe in your house. You know, they see the sage, the this, the that. Then before you know, and I always had my altar up and going, they would look around. Then I said, well, you know what? Come back and get some incense. So it was like a process. Now, today, this was a year ago. Now, today, I do full-blown classes about spirituality. Right now, I'm getting ready to do one called Rooted in Wellness. And we are going into the woods to connect with the earth, because I'm telling people it's about us loving our earth, because it's been so poisoned, so that our earth can stand strong with us, so that when we tap into the source, which is the earth for our spirituality, that we'll have the best feedback, the best vibes, the best strength to empower us on the spiritual journey. I wanted to say that. And I also wanted to say that religion did do a disservice to us, because religion made us take the power, or religion taught us that the power is not within us, that we are not self-sufficient, that our sufficiency is without. And spirituality is bringing it back home. It's causing us to look inward. It's causing us to go inward, to realize that our self-knowledge and our self-reliance is where it all begins.
Come on. And now check this out, Devotion. And this is our first time really getting in to the discussion of spirituality, and you knocked it out of the park. Now check this out. What did I say earlier as the way of now establishing the paradigm shift? You must be able to produce what? A physical reality, right?
A physical reality, yes.
So you created what product?
I created that CMOS.
Exactly. And then you created what physical reality for them to come by the CMOS at?
At my home, that was vibing. It was vibing.
Exactly.
With spirituality.
So this is the part that I share with Tamani. You gotta be able to sell something that can resonate with the people, that's not doing harm to them, but it's bringing them some benefit. Right. So when you can bring them some benefit, they will then ask you the question. Now, like for me, I love to play dominoes. I sell my for-profit business. Devotion is the Creole Soul Louisiana meat pie. So Negroes want food. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So I give them one of the best commercial food products in the world, and they love it. But I don't talk to them about politics and, coming into enlightenment and empowerment, right? So, but guess what? They read about me in the paper. They see me on the news. They hear about me at Tuesday morning breakfast. And so then they order a pie. They got to order goddamn 6 for me to make the delivery. So they order pies. And then they say like, hey, you that dude from TV? Yeah, man, I like what you be saying. Well, so now you have the introduction to communicate with them, right? So the same thing that you're doing with the CMOS, I do with meat pies, I do with different other products. And that's what I'm trying to explain to Tamani and anybody else. You must go within their physical reality. And guess what? They don't mind you having their money because you're providing them a product.
Right.
Now you're giving them added benefit with what? Spiritual, cultural enlightenment.
Exactly. And it don't stop there, because now as we are building up our tribes in our neighborhoods, now we actually have a nation to point them to. And that's the next step. Now, okay, we all on board. Now let's take this step further so that now we can change our reality. Now we can change it on a global scale. Now we can change it on a national set. So yes, this is the next step. So as my tribe is building, don't be surprised, Brother Tamani, when I say, okay, Brother Tamani, I need you to do to just do a presentation in front of 50 people that I got them all here. And this is how we do it. This is how we do it.
That works.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That most certainly works. So thank you for that question, Devotion, and that explanation. I sincerely appreciate it. All right, Brother Craig. Closing remarks for tonight's show.
I just want to thank everybody for participating. After 22 years, I can tell you a tremendous project that I started working on in 1999 is coming into fruition. And you're going to hear about it in the coming weeks. You all will hear about it before we actually launch the HBCU Preservation Challenge. And Devotion, when this launches, the beautiful thing about how we are networking and collaborating, everybody who is about the business of the liberation, the empowerment and advancement of African descendants in America and throughout the diaspora, who we are affiliated with the Black Gold Nation and my other groups. We're going to collaborate and we're going to do some phenomenal things. And so we're working on this right now. And it seems like almost all of the things that I've been working on for the past 30 years are now, you know, germinating and now finally almost ready to harvest. So I want to thank you guys. And again, stay focused on building up, unlocking, unleashing, and activating your spirituality, unlocking, unleashing, and activating your third eye to tap into deeper elements of your connection to the Creator, because all of us have the same macro life purpose. All of us have the same macro life purpose, which is the upliftment, liberation, advancement, empowerment of our people. But our micro purpose, the micro purpose, is something that you can only get between your connection between you and the Creator. And devotion, unfortunately, the vast majority of our people and other ethnic groups are going to die never knowing their macro, or their micro life purposes. And that's why the most expensive piece of real estate in the world is not out in the Bay Area where Nauru is at, that they call San Francisco or New York City or LA or Hong Kong. It's goddamn in the cemetery. Because in the cemetery, a lot of people with great ideas never tapped in to do a goddamn thing, because most of them were fearful of making things happen. And so before the time is out, your time card is punched, tap in, unlock, unleash, activate your third eye, unlock, unleash, activate your spirituality. And like Devotion said, look within, because that's where the power is at. It ain't no goddamn Jesus. It ain't no goddamn Yeshua. It ain't no goddamn Allah, no Yahweh. It is in you, connecting with the higher source. And again, it don't cost you no tithes, offerings, or no religious practices. It just requires you submitting your will and your mind unto the Creator and your empowerment trainers to get you to that next level. And Devotion, you're one of those empowerment trainers.
Ashe, Brother Craig.
Amen. And on that note, always remember that no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always, always, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the liberation, empowerment, freedom, and salvation of Black people. Because if Black people don't make it, none of us are going to make it, which is why we got to put the nation first and build something that matters with power to protect our people. So with that, as Brother Craig said, thank you guys very much for being a part of the show. Please share this with 5, 10, 15, 20 Black people that look like us, that think like us, and let's get about the work of unlocking, unleashing, and activating our spirituality so we can build some more pyramids and stop talking about them.
That's right.
Y'all have a good evening. God bless.
All right.
Bye-bye.